you don't necessarily have to mediate. Sometimes you have to communicate. We are actually simultaneously talking to two countries who are having a conflict. It was necessary for NSA Doval to go to Russia. See, Prime Minister Modi cannot go every time to another capital and meet. So sometimes, it could be NSA Doval, it could be me.
My question to you is, at times when we are very vocal and strong of our stance on world issues, why do we need to debrief the Russian president on PM Modi's visit to Ukraine?
No. What are we trying to do?
If you are trying to mediate, then why shy away?
No. You don't necessarily have to mediate. Sometimes you have to communicate.
Right.
Let's assume you have a problem with somebody out there. I come to you, we have a conversation. In my view, that conversation is of interest to the person out there. I go to them, you are okay with it. So I say, okay, let me go and describe that, what is our talk to this person. They tell me something. That's also of interest. I come back to you and say, that's what they say. Now you say something about it. I go back to them. So what is happening here? We are actually simultaneously talking to two countries who are having a conflict. Obviously, the talk is centered around what the conflict is about. It was necessary for NSA Doval to go to Russia so that the Russians know also what what Prime Minister spoke to Zelenskyy. So the whole idea today is that there is a conflict now which has entered its third year. Okay,
right.
It's a very serious conflict. I mean, if you look in terms of the human cost of this conflict, it is enormous. I mean, it's really hundreds of thousands of people have died. If you look at the economic consequences, it's huge. If you look at the implications for the world, the whole world has felt its implications because oil prices went up, food prices went up, there were various complications. Now, you can either watch this conflict and say, none of us can do anything about it, so it will end when it ends, or you can say, I'm one of the few countries, or in our case also one of the few prime ministers, leaders, who has the ability to speak there, to come here, to be very, to be honestly, both parties in a way I would say respect or trust him, and to say, okay, let me have these conversations and see whether out of these conversations something moves, something, let us say, even though you are at war, you might say, okay, I agree on that point, or maybe this is a way to go forward. So I think these are the beginnings of a communication process where it will lead. I have not quite reached the point which you said, but to my mind, I would say this. What I saw in the UN, and after that I went to Washington as well, much of the world supports what we did. I mean, people are very happy today. They at least say, okay, you have a person like Prime Minister Modi, who, because you can count on your fingertips today, who has the ability to go to both capitals. And that kind of communication, because, see, Prime Minister Modi cannot go every time to another capital and meet. So sometimes, it could be NSA Doval, it could be me. I've also spoken to some of the foreign ministers, including of those two countries concerned. So I think it's a good thing that we are doing, and I can tell you one thing, the world is with us.